This week, Athlon Sports put out quotes from anonymous SEC coaches about their rivals. A lot of people do this. Jimmy, I think you used to do this, didn't you?
I still do for Lindy's.
Okay, there you go. Well, they had one from an SEC coach, an anonymous coach, talking about Tennessee's receivers. The quote was, that staff, meaning Heupel and crew, think Nico will be the best quarterback they've had in that system. And when they have a quarterback they're confident in, they're as good as anyone on that side of the football. A quarterback they're confident in. That's an interesting comment. The question is going to be what they put around him this season. They don't have an elite wideout or obvious target, but the Talen transfer is pretty decent. Josh, I'm going to start with you because I'm going to encourage people to sign up for Josh and Swain, your radio show. You need to listen to your radio show, but you do a newsletter once a week that's a catch-all at the end of the week. I love it. It's great. I've talked about it before. You put a lot of work into it. And I will go through that thing and say, yep, got that in the show, got that in the show, got that in the show. But I'll miss some things. I had missed this story. So you had it there for me. I'll let you start. Is this guy right? Is the receiver situation as bad as this coach seemed to think?
Well, I think he's right about a point. I don't see anybody that's proven to be elite among the wide receivers that Tennessee has. I've heard good things about Chris Brazzell. He looks the part physically coming in, has to prove it going from Tulane to the SEC. But nobody has proven, okay, this guy is an all-SEC guy. Also, Jalen Hyatt had not proven that 2 years ago, and then he broke out and had a huge season. But I do think Brew McCoy, we have to see him come back healthy, but he's proven he belongs in the SEC.
Yeah, I would consider him an obvious target.
Yeah, Squirrel White is a guy that has been productive, has a chance to be better. They have more depth than a year ago, and they have freshmen like Mike Matthews, who I think has an elite skill set that has to prove what he can do. So I would probably be higher on the receivers than that coach is seeming to be. And I would also say if there is confidence in Nico and he produces, that'll raise the level of the wide receiver play.
I kind of can see where he's coming from because I think Brew McCoy is a proven receiver in the SEC, but he's a possession receiver. I think if he's talking about guys that stretch the field and get your over-the-top game going, okay, we haven't seen that from what Tennessee has. You know, and as far as Brazil, this time last year we were talking about Thornton. There's your game changer. And we saw what he did, so maybe he comes back and he gets better. But I can kind of see the point. I think Tennessee's going to prove it.
Agree or disagree with the SEC coach, Chuck?
I disagree. And I tell you what, it's not just McCoy, the receiver. It's what he brings as a bruising kind of blocker on the outside and enables you to do more things. And with Nico, I don't see him having more confidence or faith in him or whatever right now than they did in Hendon Hooker. Do you guys?
I think they do more than Joe Milton last year.
Well, Joe Milton last year,
I watched
for
him
sure.
throw across the middle in the spring game.
Right, but I wouldn't go to that extreme just yet. Thornton, get him in a better position outside. I just see where the pieces are there if they can produce. Brazzell, you mentioned him. He had 7 catches over 30 yards at Tulane. Well, he's done it at Tulane. Can he do some of that here?
If you listen to your heart, you can actually, it beats to the theme of Rocky Top. Jimmy, you agree or disagree? Don't woo.
I agree that Tennessee does not have a proven elite receiver coming back. But I also think of what Josh Heupel said. This wide receiver room is the deepest we've had at Tennessee. Now, you can debate that, but he sees them every day. So I think it's a really good receiving group, even though they don't have an elite receiver. So from that perspective, I guess I'm disagreeing a little bit because I think this is a really strong receiving corps.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Prove it.
Well,
do it on the field.
You seem to take it against that coach with his comment is that staff thinks Nico will be the best quarterback they've had in that system. That sounds to me like he's talked to people on that staff who feel that way. So you kind of act like, well, they don't like it better than Hendon Hooker. Well, I think they do. I think Hendon Hooker wasn't a 5-star. Hendon Hooker was a very good quarterback who nobody cared when he came here. He was also ran at Virginia Tech. Justin Hamilton, who was defensive coordinator up there at the time, came on this show and said he was just another guy.
He was pretty good in this system his last year.
Well, yes, but I think Nico is expected to be better.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he will be.
We'll see.
Prove it.
Yeah, okay.
Hey,
when we come back,
I always say prove it.
now we'll talk injuries. Now we'll talk injuries, and we'll talk whatever else I said. Come on back.